The college basketball experience summer coaches tour for the Southern Illinois Salukis head coach Scott Nagy edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Use our sign-up promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And welcome everybody into the college basketball experience summer coaches tour. We head to one of my favorite leagues in all of the land, the Valley, the Missouri Valley, to talk some Saluki basketball. Coach Scott Nagy did an unbelievable job at Wright State and South Dakota State. Really enjoyed our conversation earlier, just breaking down his transition from league to league, talking about the Jackrabbits, building that program, and then, of course, building Wright State into a consistent winner over the last decade or so. So, first off, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin.
It's Mac tonight. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
Also known as Mac Tonight over here at the College Basketball Experience. There you go. Music didn't want to stop today. So, yeah, back tonight over here at the College Basketball Experience. Talk a little Valley here today. November 4th is approaching quickly. It is getting closer and closer. We got a full lineup here on our coaches tour for the rest of the summer into the fall. I know it's technically the fall for some of these campuses, but a lot of these interviews were recorded in the month of August. So, real quick, let's pay the bills before we bring on Coach Nagy to talk some Salukis. Well, first off, if you want this sweet hat I got, Saluki fans, get on over there to the merch store. It's 10% off with the code football. College football kicks off this weekend. The Salukis, I think, got BYU, so go check out all the preview and picks for this upcoming weekend. Get on over there to the College Football Experience. And we're also brought to you by none other than Underdog Fantasy. Use our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And like I said, man, on Underdog, we're going to be giving out lineups all year long. So make sure you're subscribed, like our channel, and follow all our Twitter X handles. Yeah, like I said, we're going to be giving out winners left and right all year long. Can't wait. College football is here over here at the College Basketball Experience. All right, we are back over here at the College Basketball Experience, and let's get right into it. Let's bring on the head coach of the Southern Illinois Salukis in the Missouri Valley, Coach Scott Nagy. And we continue our summer coaches tour on the College Basketball Experience with the head coach of the Southern Illinois Salukis, Coach Scott Nagy. Coach, how are you doing?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing good. November 4th is rapidly approaching. Just fill everybody in on the last couple months on the new gig out there in Carbondale.
It's been interesting. I can tell you that. When we got here, once we kind of worked through who was coming back and who wasn't, we had 3 players coming back. We had to add 10 guys, which I've never even come close to doing that before in such a short amount of time, and don't ever want to do it again. But, it was a learning experience for me and my whole staff. And, we feel like we've got a pretty good team put together. We have good balance with the team. And for me, I would, if I could stay out of the portal, I'd be happy to. Obviously, I'd like to be able to keep the kids that have been in our system. That's been a lot more difficult to do with the environment the way it is. But that's what we're going to fight for, and we're probably swimming upstream a little bit in terms of how everybody else operates, but that's still what we're going to try to do.
Yep, absolutely. It's definitely a different age in college basketball. Coach, let me ask you this. I want to rewind real quick. You played at Delta State. Talk about your playing career a little bit, and then when you knew you wanted to get into the coaching industry.
Well, I started with Ed Murphy, and he was there my first 2 years, and then he went to Ole Miss, and then Steve Reeves was my coach. Then I played with a lot of good players. 3 out of 4 years went to NCAA tournament, won Final Four, won a lot of games. I was fortunate enough to start every game I ever played there. And I wasn't a great player, but I played with some really good players. And but I had a great experience there. For me, it was a really good fit. Loved the university, good level of basketball for me. And, it just reminds me how important it is to go, where the fit is good, regardless of even what level it is, because I had a great experience.
And then you make stops at Illinois, South Dakota State, SIUE. And then in 1995, you get your first head coaching job at South Dakota State. Talk about just taking over a program at the Division II level and building that thing into what it is now.
Well, yeah, you mentioned going to Illinois, and fortunate enough that my dad was Lou Henson's assistant at the time, and so I could walk right into a graduate assistantship. And the first year we go to the Final Four, and part of the Flying Illini, just such a great athletic team. But then after my 2 years there, I was an assistant at South Dakota State, and we had great teams there. My 3 years I was there as an assistant, but my head coach got fired for some, not really doing anything wrong, but just some battles with the athletic director. And I was 26 at the time, tried to get the head job, wasn't probably ready, and went away to Southern Illinois, Edwardsville for a couple of years, and then came back as a head coach when I was 28. And I was fortunate enough to come back to players that I had recruited before I left. And so my seniors and juniors in particular were a lot of guys that I already had a relationship with. That made it a much easier transition for me. I think my first 3 years there, we went 75-10. We lost 10 games in 3 years. And I remember my dad telling me, you got to get out of there. It's not going to get any better. You're not going to make any more friends. My dad was a little more cynical than I am, and I'm pretty cynical, but he was really cynical. And I spent 21 years there, and we went through the transition from division. As Division II, we won 80% of our games. We had great teams and really good players. It was a great Division II job because we drew so well. It was a top Division II job in the country. Now, obviously, going to Division I, we didn't have a league. We didn't have, you had 5-year moratorium, couldn't play in the tournament. We really struggled. Our first year, we won 6 games because we lost. When we made the transition, we lost. All the kids left because they couldn't play in any tournaments, and so we had a hard time keeping kids too because we were just getting our tails handed to us. And I'd never been through anything like that before. I'd won my whole life, but I think we won 6 games, and then 8 games, 13, 14, 19. It was a slow build. And then we really took off there after that and went to the NCAA tournament. It was just, we became very honest with the people that we were recruiting. We needed them even when it got tough to stay, and they did. And some of those kids didn't have a great experience because they didn't win a ton, but they helped us recruit the guys that went to the NCAA tournament. So I'm very thankful for even those guys, even though their experience wasn't great, they stayed and were committed and helped us build it. And then we got it back. And, I began to realize that, and I remember my dad saying this to me when we got into the Summit League, which they'd changed the name, but we got in it, and Oral Roberts, and Oakland and IUPU. I mean, they had really good teams. And I remember telling my dad this guy's a good coach and this guy's a good coach. And I remember my dad saying, hey, quit trying to out-coach him and out-recruit him. Yeah. And he's right, and I figured that out, that I'm a pretty good coach when I have good players and I'm not when I don't. And I'm not saying coaching is not important, but the players are the most important thing.
Absolutely. And Coach, you had a bunch of success there. You mentioned it, 21 years. South Dakota State's one of the premier Summit League programs because of what you were able to build in that transition to Summit League. We had your former assistant on, now the head coach at Wright State, on last week, Coach Clint Sargent. And just talk about your time at Wright State. You go over there in 2016, another program that's got good tradition. You win 65% of your games, get to a tournament. Just talk about taking over that program in the Horizon.
Yeah, I think the 8 years I was there was probably the best 8-year stretch Wright State had ever had. When we first got there, we couldn't recruit an Ohio kid. People just didn't look at Wright State as very respectable. And so I think, we did a good job of turning that around, because by the time I left, most of the kids we recruited were from Ohio. Mm-hmm. And Clint was a big part of that. And I was just so happy, for him to be able to get a head job. And they're going to have a great team this year because of the way that we recruited and the commitment level that we talked about, and guys staying and not leaving for NIL and all that other stuff. So, they should be in great shape, and hopefully we can build that here. Loved my AD there. I felt like I had the best AD in the country in Bob Grant. It was not an easy, move for me. 21 years in one spot, everything I had going there, and knew, I knew how to win at South Dakota State. I wasn't sure if I knew how to win at Wright State. And it was a hard move for my family, all that, because it's pretty much all we knew. But it worked out well. After the end of this year, my AD retired. And I wasn't looking really to go anyplace. I'd been in two jobs for 29 years. I'm not a big job hunter. But Southern Illinois pursued me, and it turned out probably to be pretty good for me. I know it was great for Clint because he got a head job, and I was run out of gas at Wright State a little bit. And so this has been a good move for me because it's really energized me again.
That's great to hear, Clint, as well. So you've built two really good programs and sustained success. How do you take your experiences at South Dakota State and at Wright State and bring them into Southern Illinois and build a winner there that has won in the past and is starving to win again in the Valley?
Yeah, and it's more difficult because the Valley's a tougher league. We all know it. It's a top 10 league in the country. Yep. It's a lot different league than the Horizon. I think the Horizon – was much more of an offensive, fast-paced, pressing type of league, where this is more of a half-court, grind it out, beat you up kind of league. And so it'll be interesting to see how the style that we play, how it fits in to the league. But in terms of, how we take what we've been doing, the values and all that won't change. The biggest fight for us, obviously, coming in here and, in the environment of college basketball, the way it is being able to recruit kids and then keep them. And so that's, like I said, I think we're swimming upstream because most people just have kind of given in to the fact that that's going to happen some. And I just am of the firm belief that it's not good for the kids. And I want to be able to establish something where their experience is a little bit different than just bouncing around and chasing and after whatever they can get, and trying to create, because it used to be much more relational and it's become transactional, and I just don't think it's good for them. I'm not saying money's not good for them and all those things, but so many of them now, when they're done playing, and they're all going to be done playing at some point, they have no place to go back to. They have no home. They have no support system from a school because they bounced around and those kids that have spent 3 or 4 or 5 years at a school, they've developed roots there, and they can always go back to it. And so many of the kids now are not going to have any place to go back to.
I couldn't agree more, and that's one of the reasons why I respect your guys' program. You guys develop, and you guys play the game the right way. Coach, you're in a league with a lot of really good coaches, a lot of good programs, a lot of good fan bases, a lot of different playing styles. I know you haven't gone through the Valley Gauntlet yet. This will be your first time go around. But what's your initial thoughts on programs like Belmont, Bradley, Murray State, Indiana State, Drake? Like a lot of really good coaches and programs.
Yeah, I haven't, and I haven't been in the league, but we played a lot of those schools and against those coaches, and so I know enough about them to know how tough it is. I think it is a really well coached league. And even talking to some of the guys, they just say this, like every night you're going against a very well coached team. Yep. And I've been in it long enough to know the difference between a team that is well coached and one isn't. And sometimes I wonder if my team's not one of those that's not well coached as I watch us. But it's the amazing thing is I come in here, the league has 12 teams, 5 of them have brand new coaches. I think I'm probably the oldest coach in the league. And, so it used to be that I was the youngest guy, and now all of a sudden I'm the oldest guy. And I don't know how much that counts for anything. Everybody, all these coaches have pretty good experience. And so, there was a time when I had no experience and we had pretty good teams. And so I don't think that always translates. But, what does translate is good players. And so that's what we have to pursue. And not just good players, but kids that are tough and have character, those kind of things. That has to be what we continue to pursue.
Absolutely. Awesome. And Coach, let me ask you this as well. Just your initial thoughts from the outside looking in on Arch Madness, because that's one of my favorite postseason tournaments in St. Louis. Every game seems to come down right to the end.
Yeah, and I've never been to it, but I know it has great tradition. I know that our fans, even now block off those dates. In Southern Illinois probably takes more than any other school over there. I mean, they're hungry. We've won more conference championships than anybody in the Missouri Valley, but it's been since 2007, and they are hungry. I mean, my predecessor Brian did a great job here, and was an All-American here. But they're just so hungry to win, and some people say, well, you must really feel the pressure, and it doesn't matter what job I'm at, I feel the pressure. I mean, I don't think I put more pressure on myself than any school's going to put on me or the fans around me. But I know they're hungry. And they want to win. They're not interested in just being okay. They want to be top notch. And so, I think that's one of the reasons why they pursued me. And hopefully we can deliver for them.
And Coach, let me ask a follow-up question. What makes the Southern Illinois Salukis job such a unique job in the Valley?
I just think. The area that we're in, and there's a couple other schools in the league that are like that, but we, and I had this at South Dakota State where we were a big fish in a small pond, and I didn't have it at Wright State. At Wright State, we were small fish in a big pond, and so being able to come back to a school that's a big fish in a small pond is exciting for me. The fans are excited. We have one of the best student sections in the country, and everywhere I go, that's what people want to talk about. And so I like that. I like that people are interested in the program and take pride in it. And this whole southern half of the state, we own. And so we're not in a big city, which is a good thing because there's just nothing else here really other than sports, the college sports scene here. And they're really hungry for their basketball team to do well.
Yeah, it's a great fan base. Carbondale, love that place. Really pulling for the Saluki fans there. Coach, one last question. You've taken a bunch of your time. We head into year 1 of your tenure here. Obviously, you got over 500 career wins, closing in on 600. I know you're counting. What's your message for the Saluki fans headed into year one of the Scott Nagy era?
Well, we want to win, and I think the league. 14 of the top 15 players in the league have either graduated or transferred.
Yep.
And so there's one player out of the top 15 players that has returned. So I think it's really up for grabs. There's a lot. I don't really pay attention to who other people recruit. I couldn't tell you about any other teams in our league. I know our team. I'm not exactly sure what to expect from our team, but the goal is to win the league. And really, for me, anybody that wouldn't think that way, I think is crazy. And I'm not one of these guys say, hey, be patient and, we'll get it there. And we want to build a program more than we just want to win as quickly as we can. But I think we can do both because of how the turnover has happened in this league over the past year. And so that's the goal. That's the goal. And that's what we're going to chase. And that's going to be the expectation.
Well, Saluki fans, you guys got the right man to get this program back to where it belongs in the NCAA tournament. Coach, thank you for stopping by the College Basketball Experience. Best of luck this season, and look forward to having you back on.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Scott Nagy of the Salukis of Southern Illinois. I can't wait. I can't wait for to see what he does with this program. His brand of basketball, the way they played at Wright State, South Dakota State, offensively runs really good stuff, and so disciplined defensively. This was one of my favorite hires in this offseason. So I think the Salukis are going to be much better than people think next year. And he mentioned it, man. The goal is to get to the NCAA tournament, win Arch Madness, and it'd be great to get this fan base back into March because they're starving for a winner in Carbondale. So. Got the right man to lead the program. He did it at Wright State. He did it at South Dakota State, closing in on 600 career wins. And appreciate him stopping by to talk Salukis. Let's pay the bills on the way out because over here at the College Experience, we're brought to you by Rhythm. Build your model, baby. I had Georgia Tech in my model this weekend and did pretty well, I think. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. Back over here at the College Basketball Experience. Want to thank Coach Nagy and thank the Salukis and Saluki fans for watching this show. We're here all season long. So we're talking Arch Madness, Missouri Valley. It's one of our favorite leagues, one of the best mid-major leagues. It's a bus league. Everybody's regional. The additions of Belmont and Murray over the last couple of years, and with Drake, Indiana State, Missouri State. I mean, it's just a fascinating league, and can't wait to watch it play out once again. And I can guarantee it's going to be a electric postseason tournament like it always is. Go check out all the other coaches tours interviews that we've already done so far this summer. Tomorrow, we got Coach Ritter of the Mercer Bears coming on. And then we got Billy Taylor of Elon coming up later in the week to end the week before we head into Labor Day. Got a whole different lineup next week as well. So make sure you subscribe, like, share, tell a friend, help us help you. It goes a long way for the College Basketball Experience. Go check out the College Football Experience. Mentioned it. Salukis, you open up at BYU this weekend. Go check out the Big 12 Experience. We're breaking down that matchup as well. And yeah, that's all I got. This has been another edition of. There it is. Cheers, everybody. The college basketball season's right around the corner. You better start thinking about yours, and we are out of here.